The Midday Show, live on QBS.
Today, we're talking about something that's been right under your nose, or maybe just below it. And I'm talking about your gut. Now, you've probably heard the phrase, trust your gut, but did you know that there's a lot of science behind that saying? Your gut isn't just for digesting food. It's home to trillions of bacteria, a complex nervous system, and a powerful line of communication with your brain, hence why many experts call it your second brain. Now, gut health is linked to everything from your immune system to your mood, energy levels, sleep, and even mental clarity. When things go wrong in the gut, you might feel it as bloating, fatigue, anxiety, or just not feeling like yourself. But when it's working well, then you will feel balanced, you'll feel, you'll be vibrant and emotionally sharp. So today we're unpacking the wonders of the gut microbiome and, the brain-gut connection and what you can do to support your digestive health, whether it's through food, lifestyle, or just tuning into your body and how it talks to you. Now, taking it back to our topic of the day, which is gut health, and why the gut is called the second brain. So if you're sitting there thinking, why did I say, many experts call, your gut the second brain? Well, here's a few answers for you. Number one, your gut contains its own network of about 100 million, or as I mentioned earlier, trillions. I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, it contains about 100 million nerve cells, which is more than the spinal cord. And this is known as the enteric nervous system, and it's capable of functioning independently of the brain. The ENS, or the enteric nervous system, it controls digestion, but also sends signals back to the brain that influence mood, stress levels, and overall well-being. As well, the gut and brain are constantly communicating via the vagus nerve, hormones, and chemical messengers. And this connection is called the gut-brain axis. This is why stress can upset your stomach and gut problems can affect your mood or cause things like brain fog. In addition to that, the gut also produces about 90 to 95% of your body's serotonin, which is the feel-good neurotransmitter that affects mood, sleep, and appetite. It produces as well dopamine, GABA, and other mood-related chemicals. And, who would have known? Who would have known that your gut does all of these things? Now, in addition to all of this, moving on to the microbiome in your gut, your digestive system is home to trillions of bacteria, as I mentioned earlier, viruses, fungi, and other microbiomes, collectively known as the gut microbiome. A healthy, diverse microbiome supports digestion, nutrient absorption, and immune function. Research shows that imbalances in the gut bacteria called dysbiosis. It's a lot of sciencey words here. Dysbiosis are linked to depression, anxiety, and even neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's. Prebiotic fiber from fruits, vegetables, and whole grains feed beneficial gut bacteria, helping them thrive and produce short-chain fatty acids that reduce inflammation and protect your brain. So obviously, eating a wide variety of plant-based foods promotes a richer and more resilient gut microbiome. Foods like I said, yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, and kombucha introduce beneficial live bacteria or probiotics into your gut. Chronic stress, however, disrupts gut function. Mindfulness, sleep, and exercise can all help with regulating both the brain and your gut health. So I didn't know that the gut actually had this much of a role to play when it comes to, obviously gut health is extremely important. That's why there are so many prebiotics, probiotics, foods like yogurts and things to help with your gut health. There's also, obviously teas. Peppermint tea helps with digestion, things like this. But who knew that your gut actually has such an active role in how you feel, your energy levels, and your mental well-being, all of these things. So I'm learning all of these things today, hopefully just like you are. Maybe I hope I'm not the only one who didn't know all of this. So we're going to explore all of this today. We're going to learn a lot from our guest expert because she is a doctor. Dr. Rubia, and we'll be having her on in just a little bit to actually get into all of these, because there was a lot of sciencey words. I'm not a science person, obviously. I'm a radio host. But yeah, it will be very helpful and hopefully beneficial, not just to me, but to you guys as well. So today we have an extraordinary guest joining us, Dr. Rubia Shariff, a highly respected wellness architect, functional neuropath, and Islamic medicine expert. With over 12 years of leadership in holistic wellness, her deep understanding spans functional diagnostics, integrative therapies, and rich cultural healing practices like hijama and traditional Arabic medicine. Now, having designed personalized, transformative experience for clients, Dr. Shariff is renowned for helping individuals and organizations flourish through a unique synergy of science-backed wellness and soul-aligned healing. And we are absolutely delighted to have Dr. Rubia Shariff with us to discuss the vital topic of gut health. So welcome to the studio and welcome to the show, Dr. Shariff. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, likewise.
All right, so getting straight into it, what made you discover this certain path of healing?
Well, as I was sharing with you earlier, I have been treating clients and my patients for a while, and while I was following the traditional pathway, it gave me results, but it was not soul-filling. It was not reversal. It was not something that I could end with a good note. So for me, it was more about how we can reverse these conditions, how we can get back to the natural state of well-being, and health is what drives me towards my ways of treating through holistic medicine, through functional medicine. As a functional naturopath, it's my passion to find the root cause of the condition and to be able to reverse that with using your body's own healing powers. And you might be surprised that we hold a lot of strength and healing powers within our body. All you just need to do is switch on the right buttons.
Oh, I like the way that sounds. So how would you explain the fundamental connection between gut health and overall well-being, especially for those who might be new to this concept like myself?
So in simpler terms, if I have to say gut health, it's the foundation of your health. So let's say you are building a beautiful little house and you have this foundation, which is your gut health. And if your foundation is great, well, you will be thriving. And if your foundation is not so good, and if there's leaks and cracks underneath, which I would in other words describe as your intestines and your large intestine, your stomach, with leaks, and so there's like leaky gut and all of these things. Inside note, with leaks and cracks underneath, you will definitely not have a good foundation. So there will be always constant aches and all of these things that you are missing out. And it also is a very important step of your whole health and your well-being. So we say your gut health as your second brain. Well, that's not just about how you feel today or what's going on underneath. It's everything that you lay down, and your stomach or your intestines are directly in connection with the external world. It's because the food that you grow comes directly in contact with your body, which is unsterile or sterile, and you directly ingest it. And when I say ingestion, it's not just food. It is the ideas, the thoughts that you put with the food, and the type of food that you choose matters the most. So that's your foundation.
I see. So beyond common digestive issues, what are some of the less obvious signs or symptoms that indicates gut health imbalance?
Well, this might surprise you. There are a lot of conditions. I would say I can name them all, and it might take forever, but let me narrow them down for a few, like simple as mood swings, anxiety, depression, even skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, acne, which is very common these days. And if you want to go deeper, autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's, thyroid conditions, celiac, and one of the most common pandemic that I'm seeing is obesity, PCOS in women, fertility disorders. These could be just a few on the tip of the iceberg. Well, there's a lot underneath them.
That's quite a lot.
I would name most of them.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier before, we got you on air, that I didn't realize the gut had this big of a role to play within our bodies. And I just read, because of, the ENS, there's like 100 million, nerve cells, which is more than our spinal cord. It's something I never knew before, so with our listeners, I'm learning something here today.
I totally agree with that. And also it's a day-to-day motion in action. So you are what you eat. And that's why this is a whole representation of you.
Right. No, definitely. I think as I grow older, I'm finally understanding the "you are what you eat" phrase. It's a lot, and as we were talking off air, it's difficult because there's so many fads and trend diets, and all of these things are like, oh, if you want a better gut health, you have to follow this fad, or you have to follow this diet. You have to be keto, you have to be gluten free. And what do you think of all of that?
Well, like you said, these are trends and fads, and they're here, they come and they go. It doesn't matter what the science is saying, because there are a lot of research, there is data proving all of these diets to be beneficial. But do you fall in that category is a question that I want to ask. Keto is great for certain conditions. Paleo is great for certain conditions. So no diet is wrong. There is nothing wrong with what data is given to you in terms of scientific food.
But it's not a one size fits all.
Yes, it's not one size fits all. It's not precise to who you are and what is your conditions, unless and until you decide to sit and investigate, which is again gonna be a little bit biased. So for me, I believe that there is science supporting all of these trends and diets, but the question you ask is, do I come from this geography? Do I fit for this diet? Are my conditions unbiasedly mine, or is it just what I feel? Or is it what my ancestors have grown up eating? Do I come from this geography? So there are a lot of questions when you follow a diet or a superfood or a trend. You ask yourself before investing yourself into that diet. And surprisingly, I've seen a lot of my patients who have been in perfectly good condition ruining their health because a recent study came out, or a recent diet came out, or a recent trend came out, and they just want to try it because they think it's harmless, but it's not really harmless. There is a lot that goes underneath.
Right. So going back to gut health, and this time I want to really break down the gut-brain connection and how that works. There's growing awareness of the powerful gut-brain axis. So how directly does the health of our gut impact our mental and emotional well-being? And what does this mean for conditions like anxiety and mood swings?
Perfect. It's a beautiful question, and we often don't connect gut health with our mood. We say, oh, I'm just fine. It's something to do with my period, or it's something to do with the stress, but it's a direct effect of what's going on. So in common words, if I have to say gut-brain axis, I'm gonna say as like we said, the word, you are what you eat. So if you eat something bad today, your mood is definitely not going to be great.
Right.
And when I say it's a connection, I want to start with a little story, which I'm sure you would love hearing, and I think it's almost 1,000 years old. And if you have heard about Ibn Sina, he's one of the most, I would say, father of medicine, and is celebrated Islamic scholar. He did a very beautiful experiment, and you won't believe it's so relevant in today's time, yet was done almost 1,000 years ago, which is in 17th and 18th century. So the story goes back that he brought 2 lamps into a shelter, and he put these 2 lamps in 2 different cages. He fed them very good food, good everything great, but he did a small little deviation. So what he did was, for the second lamp, he kept in such an angle where he could see the wolf from a certain degree, and the other lamp was completely free of this stress. He was eating, he was great, and the lamp who was eating the same food but was seeing wolf from an angle lived with the fear that he can be attacked or is under relevant stress, showed sudden degrade in his health. So his health completely deformed, and he started losing weight. He started getting sick often, and the downfall began. So it's surprising that this experiment was done thousands of years ago, showing how stress and how our brain health impacts our gut health, and vice versa. So your stomach health also equally impacts your brain health. So what I mean to say is, regardless of what food you eat, sometimes the stress can impact as equally as the food is bad, or vice versa. So you eat the great food and then the stress is there, it's going to affect same. So this is a story that I can sum it all up, saying that this is what gut-brain axis is. So you are directly in synergy with your gut and your brain. So what you feed your brain can directly affect your gut, and what you feed your gut can directly affect your brain.
Right. Now, what would it mean for somebody who's, diagnosed with a neurodivergent condition, right? For example, I've been medically diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder. So what does that mean for me? As a person who already has anxiety and depression and mood swings on a regular basis.
Yeah, for me, I would first not put you in the box of bipolar, because it's a spectrum. And when you are on a spectrum, it could get worse on certain days, and it could be great on certain days. I'm sure you agree with that.
Yes.
And if you go back, and what I believe in is pattern seeking and diving deeper. I would dive deeper and see what are the foods that trigger you and make this condition worse, and what are the foods that will soothe you, that will heal you, that will make you feel better than the rest of the days, and that is something that I would say is a tangible option. So it's under your control. The food is completely under your control. So regardless of the outer factors, like that's like your work, which can be sometimes not under control, stress and the environment, but food is one environment that can be stable throughout this. So we can manage your situation way better than being more aware. So for me, I believe awareness is the first step to change. So if you are aware of the foods that have been triggering your bipolar situation into making it worse, and also your gut microbiome playing an important role, because there are certain strains that are known to benefit people with bipolar, because there is this factor of gut microbiota being an influence on your mental health.
Okay. So I'm basically, I just need to sit down with you and have that 1 hour session and talk through it
a
all.
long chat. Yes.
Okay, so you integrate various healing traditions into your practice. How do insights and practices from Tib Nabawi, which is, the prophetic medicine, complement modern functional diagnostics in addressing both gut health and related mental wellness challenges?
Yeah, I would like to share a lot of similarities that I've noticed over a period of time, as I've studied both functional medicine and I've studied both Islamic medicine. So there is a lot of relevance, a lot of commonalities when functional medicine says gut is the root cause of all diseases, same as any traditional medicine. Even references from Ayurveda, homeopathy, Unani, all of them point towards this one common factor, that is gut health as your root cause of the disease. And again going back to functional medicine, we focus on treating your gut as the stream for everything. Right. So same as Islamic medicine. Islamic medicine focuses on your gut. So let's say simple hadiths, which we often forget to apply, is the 1/3 rule, having 3 portions of your stomach for water, food and air. Same thing with functional medicine. You don't overfill your stomach, because your digestive acids get imbalanced when you overfill. So moderation is the key. And there are a lot of foods. Recently, there's a functional study which proved pomegranate being one of the superfoods for gut health. And you'll be surprised to know there's no part in the pomegranate that was discarded in Islamic medicine. So we would use pomegranate to heal the gut. We would use the skin to treat parasites initially. And when we start a detox protocol or a functional protocol, the first thing we do is clean the slate. And how we do is by simple things like deworming and detoxing the system. So a subtle form of detoxification, whether it's Islamic medicine or functional medicine, it's kind of one path itself. I don't see a difference. What we are calling functional medicine is the traditional medicine that has been now evolved with science backing.
I see. Now, before we take a break, I do want to ask, for individuals that experience mental health challenges, how might exploring their gut health offer a pathway to improving their overall state, and what kind of integrative therapies might be considered?
Well, there's a lot of scope. First of all, I would like to say that there is hope here. You can reverse a situation depending on how well aware and educated you are about where you are standing at that spectrum of a condition. And when I say the path, I would say remove, replace, and rebalance. So your journey, your food, your gut health journey starts from your kitchen. So go to your kitchen, look towards your kitchen, clean it up, and clean it up your diet. And I also want to say your digestive process begins in the kitchen. Your kitchen is holding a huge miracles and all these amazing ingredients, so you can use them. So I would say remove everything that's not needed: junk, colored foods, artificial flavors, things that you don't read and things that you read and you don't understand. They don't have place in your kitchen. And when you remove all of these things, you replace them with wholeness, whole foods that are natural to your environment, also food that suit your geography. We are kind of eating everything unseasonally. So like if it's not the season, you don't eat that food. Again, because it's a smart plan that God has applied on earth, and he is giving us foods based on the season of what our body demands. So if that's not the season for that food, I don't think you need it. And then for rebalancing, there are a lot of simple things that you can do, like a lot of my patients, they come and the first guilt or the first crime they want to commit is about coffee. They say, "Doctor, I have coffee. I have coffee and I want to stop it," or I take coffee and I cannot quit. Who said coffee was bad? If you knew how to use it,
okay,
right? We use
too much of it obviously is bad.
Anything
right?
too much is bad, yes. But coffee, if you use the right way, coffee enemas, coffee cleansings are a great way of detoxing, and especially for gut-brain axis, it's one of the best way to use coffee. So there are a lot of tips and tricks that I'm going to share over our conversation, inshallah.
I love that. That's great. I mean, the first time I heard of a coffee enema was a show on a streaming platform called Apple Cider Vinegar, and it was about an influencer lying about having cancer. So it showed a two perspective of an influencer that does have cancer and one that was lying about having cancer. The one that actually does have cancer went on this whole, holistic wellness journey on trying to heal her cancer through holistic methods, and one of the methods that she used was a coffee enema. And when I watched that, I was like, is this real?
It is. And patients who regularly do coffee enema with me, they say they are the best people on planet. They feel like they are on this coffee enema high. I would say they feel they're on top of the world.
Right, on cloud nine.
Yes.
So it is a real thing. Okay,
yes.
That's one of the things I questioned in the show, because it's based on a real life story that has happened in Australia, a real life case, obviously. So I just saw that and I was like, what does that do though? Obviously it did not cure her cancer though.
Yeah, we're not making these big claims of treating something like cancer. It definitely needs intervention where it's needed. However, there are lifestyle array of lifestyle issues and disorders and modifications that can be done to make your treatment better, to make you recover faster and make your journey way better. So we are working on your health and the quality of your life. So the quality definitely matters.
So we have a listener who said, advice: eat warm, simple food, not too much cold, raw stuff. It never sat well with them. And they also say your gut likes kindness, not chaos. So what's your take on that?
Absolutely love that advice. However, I would say yes, warm foods are great, soothing, and I would call that as a skincare for your gut health. When you say skincare for your gut health, it's like moisturizing your skin. Every day you need to moisturize your skin. So does healthy fats like ghee, butter, olive oil does to your gut health. So I usually tend to make these simple little regimes or routines, so it's not overwhelming as well as it's easier to be done. And you can use them like on empty stomach when you wake up in the morning from time to time, just to apply that moisturizer inside. And then when there was one more advice inside, so raw foods, yes, if you have underlying conditions, raw foods do tend to make you bloated. They do feed the bad bacteria, so that's why probably it was not sitting well for the viewer, that it made always worse. So I want to highlight the importance of gut microbiome and the use of probiotics here. If your gut health and your probiotics are sound, you probably wouldn't get bloated with a little bit of raw food from time to time. And yes, anytime steaming is better, because you get rid of all the pesticides the food is laden with, or even sometimes when I ask if your gut is really sensitive, is to always peel the skin, because it comes in contact with pesticides and everything that's exposed to chemicals or food just reaching you, the food chain. So that's one of the advice, but it's a great advice.
All right. So we have a listener. Her name is Yasmin, and she says, why did we never talk about gut health when we were younger? We treated our body like a machine, not a garden.
That's a lovely advice. I think mothers today are more involved and more hands-on. I'm glad that, people are now talking about it. But for me, I believe your health starts at your home. For us, like our grandmothers and our mothers taught us the emphasis of health, and that it plays in the long run, and the foods, and how to do seasonal care, how to introduce foods when you don't feel good, or use food as medicine. So even in young teenagers now, I see a lot of trends, a lot of fads and diets. All I just want to say is try your most to bring yourself to your natural self. Eat what your ancestors ate, and use foods, all foods. Don't if you're not allergic, don't have any restrictions. Restrictive diets are known to be devastating on your health, unless you are diagnosed by a healthcare provider for a certain allergy or intolerance or a condition. I would say have a colorful, beautiful plate, and serve with a pinch of gratitude. We often always feed ourselves with that negative thought that, this is too many calories, this is too much this, too much that, will I gain weight if I eat this, will I so we are always feeding with will I and all these negative ideas, instead of just being grateful for having that plate of food, and just thanking the provider for it, and eating it with a wholehearted feeling.
Right. We have a listener who says, is it too late to fix your gut when you're over 70? I feel better even now when I cut back on sugar and white bread. I think it's never too late, right?
Yes, it's never too late, and obviously you're cutting the bad guys out, which is white sugar and the processed food. So it's never too late, and your gut is the most resilient. unlike liver, people say you can grow your liver out if a part of your liver is chopped, because it's a very regenerative organ. So is your gut lining. It's shedding and it's reviving on its own. So all you need to do is just support your body when it's when it's shedding and rebuilding again. Build it well.
Right. Well, while we're on the topic of sugar, I do want to ask you, is it true that brown sugar is better?
Brown sugar, if it's raw and rich with molasses, is better. But if it's a brown sugar which is still processed, it's no better than any other refined sugar. However, we are in a region where dates are predominant. I would naturally reach out to dates than sugar, again, because cane doesn't grow in Middle East, and there are no plantations for cane, so this is not our natural form of sugar if we are living in this region. Dates are much more better. They are richer in probiotics as well if you use the molasses and if you ferment them, so dates can be multifunctional.
Okay. Is there any other sources of like natural sugar? Obviously,
yes,
other than
palm
fruit.
sugar. Yes, palm sugar. Palm trees have been also
Palm
predominant.
sugar.
Yes, and honey, of course.
Yeah, honey is like the biggest one.
Yes, just make sure they're not laden with antibiotics. Also, I want to emphasize cedar honey. Cedar is our natural tree and commonly available, and you don't need to go to France to get honey, which is again a natural microbiome to France or that region, where here the cedar tree is a predominant tree, and cedar honey will be a better probiotic for you.
Okay. We usually hear about cedar for hair use.
Cedar is a magical ingredient. You can use everything.
So we have a listener who's asking, how does long-term stress or depression suppress our immune system? Some even say it could trigger chronic diseases, including cancer. So what does science actually say about the link between emotional stress, poor gut health, and long-term illness?
Well, it's a lovely question, and there is a lot of science evidence based on the effect of stress on your gut health, on your mental health, your emotional well-being, and your chronic conditions or chronic diseases. So like I told you, there's always a connection. There's this gut-brain axis. You are what you eat and how you feel. So this definitely plays an important role, and your chronic diseases might get worse if your mental state is worse. So having that sense of well-being and getting back to your life and putting all of the things together as right food, right exercise, movement, air and breathing. So these are certain Islamic philosophies too, Islamic medicine philosophies. Good air, digestive system, food and elimination, the quality of your food, all of these things matter when you are treating chronic diseases or also your mental well-being. So there is a direct impact, and there's no denying in that.
Okay. We also have a question here. Wait, where did it go? Okay. Can you suggest some good alternatives to white sugar? How about maple syrup? Is that good?
Well, maple syrup is a good choice. I'm sure if you're an expat, you do come from a 50-50 geography. Let's say you are living in Qatar for most of your lifetime, but you are also from regions of maple. You can do add maple syrup, but that's not your only sugar alternative. You should always play around the ingredients, because our body is very adaptable. You do not use anything for prolonged period of time, because your body gets resistant and adaptive. So something simple as maple syrup, again, like I said, the quality over quantity matters. So you always play around the ingredients. We have date sugar, we have honey, we have coconut sugar. So we have a lot of variety of sugar to use, and I would say it also depends on your recipes. So I would say play with different sweeteners while you have the access and the bounties of using it. I wouldn't say just rely on one particular form of sugar.
switch it up.
Yeah, switch it up, play with the ingredients, play with your recipes.
Okay, that's great. It's really good. I'm learning so much with our, like I said, along with our listeners. These are all things that like...
You're an amazing host. I've never found someone so knowledgeable.
Thank you. So we have a listener who's asking for a natural remedy for constipation. They said this is the biggest problem most of the elders are facing.
Yes. So there are a lot of things, like when you Google up, the first few things says load up on fiber, load up on laxatives. I would say stay away from fiber for some days, and this comes with an alternative to fiber. So sometimes fiber can also go in your gut and bloat and block furthermore, making people more constipated, especially with people who are aged above 50, 60, 70 years. There is also dehydration, so there is not enough water in the body already, which makes the colon transit time longer, which makes the body a little bit more rigid, a little bit more harsh. While you work with simpler carbs, simple things like congee is great, simple things like talbina, more watery, sagu puddings. These are simple carbs with fiber, but which is a little bit more easier fibers, not something that will go up and instantly swell up in your intestines. Like people tend to often take isabgol or these resistant fibers, which are great for individuals who are younger, who have more motility in their gut. As you age, the motility of your gut slows down, so you have to think about the simplest ingredients, simplest recipes, simplest foods, and more soothing foods. So the more watery, the more soothing the foods are, the better it is for aged people with constipation.
Right. How about gelatin?
Gelatin is more soothing, but you have to take in huge quantities for you to give that roughage. So it's good, but the quantity is not enough.
Okay, I see. So we have a listener who's asking, what is the best breakfast for a good gut microbiome? They're also asking, is taking fruit on an empty stomach good?
Well, the first answer really excites me because I love talbina. It's a Tibetan food. It's an Islamic food, and it's also a functional food. What I say, you can use it in different ways. It's basically barley. You can powder it and refrigerate it like the way you do it with oats, where oats is glyphosate rich, which is really bad and inflammatory. It can be an easy porridge for you to reach out anytime you are on a go, on rush. And then definitely the protein factor is separate, but this is what your base can be. And if you are someone who's suffering with chronic gut issues, you can make talbina as a resistant starch. So you prepare it overnight, even more easier for working mothers. You just throw it in the refrigerator and get it out in the morning. Top it up with fruits, honey, cinnamon powder, things that are metabolic in nature. If it's cold weather, then cinnamon is great. If it's hot, then rose water is great, as it's soothing and it's tonic in nature. So I would say a bowl of talbina, fruits, and choice of protein will be an amazing breakfast to go for. And the second part of the question, which says,
is taking fruit on an empty stomach good?
Yes. So again, I think there are a lot of misleading information on social media saying that, oh well, if you eat fruits on empty stomach, it causes bloating, blah blah blah, and everything. It really depends on what your body type is. And also, I want to remind you of the small little experiment of Pavlov's, where even you produce digestive enzymes with a ring of a bell. So it also it's the ring of the bell is here the idea that you put in. So if you say the fruit is going to bloat me and make me sick if I eat it on empty stomach, definitely that's going to happen. And if you use it saying that, oh well, I'm eating fruit because I'm going to get healthy, I'm going to get better, this is good for me, it's going to do good. But in general, I tend not to have fermenting foods in the night, which is like, let's say if I want to remind you about your skincare, gut health skincare, you keep healthy ingredients, good food in the night for the longest time, like putting a face mask on the skin.
Right.
So the healing ingredients stay longer because when you sleep, the colon transit time is longer because the food is staying for a long time in your gut. So use foods that are soothing in nature in the night.
Right. As I was telling you off air, my only thing with fruits is I just don't eat it at night because of, the fructose, how complex of a sugar it is to break down. And, I heard past 7 p.m., your digestive system starts to slow down.
Yes, it's also good to rest and not go with a heavy tummy. But like we were sharing, women cannot go to sleep empty stomach, and most of the people, yes. So that's why we say heavy meals by 7 should be done and closed. Before you go to bed, let's say 9 or 10 o'clock, you can have a bowl of fruit. Specifically, if I have to say, pineapple, which is rich in bromelain, which is known to heal your gut, or papaya, which is low calorie food, but there are enzymes. So let's say you are taking digestive enzymes and your natural alternative is papaya fruit, so that is also an excellent food. So like I said, I'm saying fruits. These are the hand-picked fruits that I'm suggesting you to take. Not all fruits can be taken in the night. For example, banana, which can be can ferment because it's rich in fructose, like you said, can cause bloating and fermentation. So foods that are a little bit acidic in nature and a little bit more with digestive enzymes can be tolerated. However, you can also take green teas or like lavender, chamomile teas, like your bedtime ritual or your sleep hygiene, which will also boost the quality of your sleep.
Right. So acidic type fruits, so citrus fruits would fall under that category, I assume.
Yeah, some of them.
Okay, that's good to know. We have a listener who says that they have colon problems and they are so severe that she sees blood with her feces. They did a test and it was only 3 hemorrhoids in her colon. And she says that she suppresses her anger, but what does she do, or what can she eat to help with her colon problems?
Yeah, so I want to divide this question in 2 parts. One is her anger issues. So this is a metaphysical expression of your body as well. So people who have constipation or gut issues are often a metaphysical expression of your emotions. So if you're suppressing your emotions and you're swallowing them, keeping them in your tummy and taking them all the way to your intestine, definitely they're going to erupt as hemorrhoids or any of these fissures and so on. So for me, I would say work on your emotions and see how you can regulate them. And the second part being is having a well balanced diet. So certainly your problem is not a physiological problem. I would say it didn't come because of a etiology, a reason. I would say it came because of a lifestyle disorder. So if you go back and fix your lifestyle, like if you're sitting for prolonged hours or if you're standing for prolonged hours, if your food habits are bad, if your lifestyle is all over the place, I would say if you fix your lifestyle, the lifestyle disorders will vanish with it.
I see. Before we take a break, really quick, we have a listener who's asking, is intermittent fasting good to repair the gut?
I would say partly yes and partly no, depending on who is doing. I don't recommend prolonged fasting for women, as it really interferes with the hormonal imbalances, because women are predominantly hormone and each day is different to the previous day. So
Right.
if you are a woman, I would say you talk to your healthcare provider and decide what's the best protocol for you. But if you are a man and you are in a good state of health, you are healthy, you don't have any underlying conditions, probably it's a good option, but I would still say explore more.
Okay, so really look into it and ask your healthcare provider.
Yes.
We're going back to answering it. There's so many questions. So, first one is, may I know what foods make your gut and brain happy at the same time?
Well, all the healthy fats that I can think of are a food to your gut and brain at the same time. Like I said, butyrates, which is rich in butter. So if you get good organic grass-fed butter, it should be your snack. So you can have empty stomach every now and then. Ghee is a great source, and even cultured ghee, which is also like rich in probiotics, is a great source. Olives, olive oil, walnut oil, there are any healthy fat would be a boon to both your brain and your gut health.
Amazing. We have a listener who's asking, does sugar-free foods do more harm than good?
They certainly do, especially if it's erythritol or any artificial sweeteners like aspartame. They bloat your gut, they ruin your gut microbiome, and they also increase your certain inflammatory markers. So we don't advise you to have artificial sweeteners or zero calorie sweeteners. There are a lot of great alternatives, especially the market is more wellness oriented these days. People are focusing on getting natural ingredients back to the shelves, so you will find better alternatives any day.
Right. Now, Ramya is asking, what is the best oil for cooking? Avocado oil or olive oil? There are so many options to choose today in the market. And I agree. There's too many.
Yes, there are many. Like I told you, Ramya, you are what you eat, but you are also your geography. So you always ask yourself these questions: where do I come from? If you are an expat living in GCC, then you should always play up with your oils, especially with what's available here, which is predominantly olive oil. But also go back and look at what your ancestors ate if you are an expat and coming from a different part of the country or the world. So you always switch up oils. Avocado oil is just a trend. I don't recommend following avocado oil for a long time. Again, it's gonna fade. Avocado, then there was pumpkin, there was so many trends coming in and out. Olive oil has stayed for the longest time and the test of the time.
What about like sunflower oil?
Sunflower oil I don't recommend, but there are people who come from a region where sunflower seeds were predominant. They might do well, although there are a lot of studies and there are people saying that seed oils can be inflammatory. Even almond oil can be inflammatory, but it's really on how you use these oils.
It makes sense. I mean, I avoid, like, for example, oil cleansers for my face because I know that those oils, they usually in oil cleansers you'll find things like almond oil, sunflower oil, all in these oil cleansers, because there's a trend going around in the skincare community that, oh, you should use oil cleansers to remove your blackheads or to remove your excess sebum. But like they contain all these like different essential oils and they actually break your skin out. So I avoid, those types of oils for my face. So it makes sense you should avoid them for your gut as well.
Exactly. You eat what you apply on your skin what you can eat. So basically, if you can eat them, you can apply them on your skin too.
Okay. We have a listener who says, when we were younger, we could eat a whole pizza and feel fine. Now one slice and we're bloated. Why does digestion become such a challenge with age? And what's really going on in our gut?
So
first of all, I'm concerned that you ate a whole pizza when you were younger.
Yes.
I never could, and I still can't.
I think he was just blessed with good metabolism then. And as you are aging, your metabolism is dropping.
Slow down.
Yes. Welcome to growing up. And part two being getting gut issues as you age. Yes, you were more resilient then. You could even digest iron if you were fed then, but not today as you are aging and your metabolic rate is falling and your digestive system is now saying like, wake up and take care of me now. I'm done. So that's about your health. And if you eating one pizza is at any point of the health is not healthy. So it's good that you're not reacting well to it anyway.
Okay. We have a listener who says, how to eat healthy when we go on vacation. And they're also asking, is kefir worth the hype? There's so much hype around kefir.
Any food fad trend is not worth the hype. Even kefir, if you are used to taking fermented yogurt, it's very similar. So when I talk about kefir or labne, they all fall in the same category of fermented milk, and there are certain strains like lactobacillus and another few strains of the bacillus category. So they fall under the same category. It's just a marketing trend. Any milk product will have the set of strains that, regardless of the way you ferment it, will remain the same. So it's not worth the hype. You just have any fermented food, it's gonna serve you the same. And regarding eating healthy while you travel, the best thing that you do is when you travel is explore the country and explore their food and their culture. So I don't force people to mentally force themselves into eating healthy all the time and stressing and creating further more stress. It's not worth it. I would say when you're traveling, enjoy the food that the country has to offer, as long as you ask these questions that I've been constantly reminding you. Is it natural? Does it have anything that you don't understand, or these jargon of words or chemicals or additives? If it's natural, if it's true to its source, then please enjoy the food.
Okay, that's great. So we have a listener who's asking, what is the difference? What are the different effects between intermittent fasting and Islamic fasting, Siyam?
Great. So intermittent fasting and Islamic fasting, if I have to compare in base term, it's almost similar to each other. So you are having abstinence of food for a certain duration of time. So while you are expecting health benefits from intermittent fasting, you are getting similar benefits from Saum fasting, which is just abstinence of food, giving your digestive organs the rest time and the recovery period that they need to heal, and a break. So it's very much similar. The added benefit that you're getting is sawab, of course, but it's no different if I have to count intermittent fasting and Ramadan fasting or Saum fasting.
Okay, that's interesting. We also have a listener who's asking, are there any separate diets to cure inflammation? I feel like no.
No, I would say just an anti-inflammatory diet. Again, it's a hyped word. Anti-inflammatory protocol is different for everyone, depending on what are your trigger factors. So everybody has triggers of foods, intolerances at that point of the time, depending on what the situation is. So if you remove those inflammation causing foods for that period of time, it becomes an anti-inflammatory diet. So it's very simple to do, but again requires a little bit of time and effort.
Okay, so this is a personal question that I wanted to ask you. I've heard that eating yogurt on an empty stomach, like first thing in the morning, eating yogurt on an empty stomach is bad for your stomach.
Well, again, I don't agree with that. Any food, regardless of what time you eat, doesn't matter. Well, it comes from a little bit of data about probiotics getting destroyed because of the high digestive enzymes in your stomach. That's why you're not advised to have yogurt on empty stomach, but that's not the case always. So if you are having yogurt with granola, or you're adding complex carbs with it, your probiotics and your microbiome, your gut microbiome is gonna flourish with it.
Our final question for you, Doctor, is given your work in designing personalized transformative experiences, what would be your advice for someone looking to take a step towards improving both their gut health and mental vitality? Where should they begin their journey, other than a consultation with you?
I would love to see you in person, but these are few things that if I have to put my heart to the advice, I would say one is living a purposeful life. Having a purpose makes your life much more meaningful. So whether it's the food that you prepare for you and your family, is finding a purpose and a meaning. Is it natural? Is it healthy? Are the ingredients free and safe from all the additives, pesticides? That's something that you would always remove from your from the food that you're preparing or eating. And I would say always find better foods to replace with. There are always seasonal fruits coming in and out. A lot of global wastage when it comes to food. So using the right foods in the right season play a very important role. And last but not the least, I would say focusing on your mental health with positive thoughts and having a wholesome diet. So your plate should be colorful with carbs. No food is bad or good. You just don't know how to use it. That's that's the plate that you will have. If you followed your ancestors, your tradition, and your culture, you will have a very beautiful looking plate and a tummy and a mood full of life.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. And thank you for joining us today. I'm sure you had to take time away from your patients to come and talk to us and help our listeners out. We really do appreciate it so much. It's been a very beneficial episode. I've learned so much, and I'm sure our listeners have as well. And we couldn't thank you enough for being here, Dr. Shariff. So again, thank you so much.
That's my